My birth control was tampered with by my boyfriend. I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do. My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years. We were high school friends, grew apart, ended up going to the same college, similar majors, reconnected, and you can guess the rest. We've been on the rocks lately. Our lifestyles just don't align very well, and sometimes he treats me more like a mother than a partner. I am losing patience. He's an only child, and kind of a massive mama's boy. His mum is nice enough, just very traditional. Until recently, I don't feel like I've had a reason to distrust her. He confides in her a lot about our relationship, sometimes an uncomfortable amount. For the past couple of months, I feel like she's been trying to plant seeds in my head about having kids when I'm alone with her. Some examples include, "The joy of motherhood is like nothing else. You'll understand someday. I know it's hard enough right now. You know, a baby might bring you closer. My husband and I fought constantly until we had your boyfriend. Oh, once you have a baby, everything else falls away. They are little miracle workers. You know, fatherhood changes people. I think boyfriend just needs to experience it." That last one in regards to his irresponsibility and lack of accountability for housework. Oh boy, a baby solves everything. Why didn't I think of that? I'm on the pill. I've been trying to get on a different form of birth control that doesn't require constant effort, like an IUD, injections, arm implant, but I haven't been able to decide which one is right for me. My birth control comes in a blister pack, but I usually pop a week's worth into a pill organizer so that I can just take it with my other medications. I don't bother taking the sugar pills that you're supposed to take during the week of your period. I keep the empty blister packet with the leftover sugar pills in my nightstand because I'm weird about throwing things away sometimes. What if I need it later mentality that I picked up from growing up in a doomsday prepping household. Thanks, Dad. I feel incredibly stupid for that now. A couple of weeks ago, I missed my period. I took a pregnancy test, saw the dreaded second line, and proceeded to freak out. Boyfriend was at work when I found out, so I called him immediately. I told him that we needed to talk and that it was urgent. He didn't want to come home at first since we're not in a great situation financially. I started bawling and begging, and I think he realized I was serious. When he got home, I was sitting on the bathroom floor. I was a wreck, cried so hard I vomited. Anyways, boyfriend gets back to our apartment, finds me on the floor, and as soon as he sees the pregnancy test, he fucking smiles. His face lit up, and I saw red. No acknowledgement of the state that I was in. The first thing he said to me besides, "What's going on?" was, "Oh my god, baby, this is great." I wanted to put my head through the wall. I tried to explain to him through snot and tears and spit that no, this was not great. We are both full-time students with jobs. I can't take time off. I have a ton of unresolved health issues. We can barely afford the roof over our heads. I hate the idea of getting an abortion. I'm all for it when it's someone else. Just for me, I don't know if I can bring myself to do it. He left me to cool down in the bathroom for a while. I told him to get out, and I saw one of the fucking blister packs in the bathroom trash can. We don't use it very often, so we only empty it once in a while. I threw away the pregnancy test, it knocked aside a wad of toilet paper, and the silver foil caught my eye. I dug through the trash, and I found 7 of my regular fucking birth control pills at the bottom of the trash bag. I can't believe he not only did this to me, but was also so incredibly careless. It's like he barely tried to hide it. I can't tell if he wanted me to find out, or if he just genuinely doesn't have anything knocking around inside his cranium besides a few rocks. I had been racking my brain, trying to figure out how this could have happened. I am so diligent about taking my meds. I feel so fucking stupid. So stupid. The sugar pills are literally a different fucking color. I take like 7 pills in the morning and unceremoniously dump them into my mouth. I definitely didn't look closely at them. He didn't give me a reason to think that I had to. He hadn't said anything about kids. I could tell that he was kind of trying to be better about his responsibilities lately. I thought things were finally starting to look up when it came to the state of our relationship. We have access to each other's phones. I think he probably checked my Fitbit app to find out when I was ovulating, since I track my period there. I don't know how else he could have known. I think I remember a few times that I'd unlocked my phone and find the app open, but I thought nothing of it. I confided in a few close friends about all of this. I told them everything. What he did, how I think he did it, how I think his mum might have told him to, how fucking devastated I am, and how stupid I feel. In essence, they told me that I need to grow a spine, leave him, stop going crazy, and figure my shit out / decide what to do. Now a part of me feels like I might be overreacting. I'm staying with my parents right now. They don't know what's going on. They are kind of religious, and I'm not exactly sure how they feel about abortion. I don't want to bring it up because I don't know how they'll react. Boyfriend has been texting me non-stop, telling me to calm down and come home and talk to him. I'm so fucking lost. Sorry if this is a mess. I'm not proofreading, and I don't have the bandwidth right now. In the comments, Go Mallistic says, I am not going to sugarcoat this. This is a form of sexual assault. He's trying to force you to carry a child to term, birth it, and raise it, all without your consent. This is not a safe person to have in your life, nor is he safe to raise a child. In regards to him and his mum, your description of his mum makes me think that they did this together or that it was her idea. A word of advice, if you do decide to terminate, tell him that you miscarried. He doesn't deserve the truth, and you don't deserve whatever terrible response he and his mum would direct your way. You need to put yourself first and decide what you want your life to be. Good luck, OP. 100%. OP, this man has committed a pretty serious crime against you. You are not overreacting. I understand the guilt aspect of not wanting to have an abortion, and that's a super valid way to feel. However, it's worth considering that if he was willing to commit an act of sexual violence to keep you with him and doing what he wants, you really don't know what he is capable of, and you really don't know what his mother is capable of. It's common knowledge that you should not bring a child into a relationship that is struggling. It's a hard thing to do, even in a strong relationship, and you don't want to condemn a child to a life with these people either. You don't want to be tied to this man and his mother for the rest of your life. There are literally millions of men out there who could give you a child when you were ready, willing, and most importantly, aware of what was happening. I promise you deserve so much better than this. If you're in a single-party consent state / country, record him admitting it and report him to the police. What a fucking monster. OP says, I'm in Illinois. It's an all-party consent state. I have a really close mutual friend with him that I've known since childhood. I'm gonna ask if he would be willing to gently prod boyfriend via text to try to get an admission / explanation, both because I plan on filing a police report once I figure out how, and because I feel like I need to know exactly what happened. I don't know if I'll get that closure. We'll see. Back up to the post, there's a quick edit. I'm terminating. I'm chronically ill, I would have an extremely risky pregnancy, and I don't want to bring a kid into this environment. I've made an appointment, but I'm still so scared. I also had my friend gently prod my ex over text about what happened, and he didn't even have to do much. He bent immediately, saying he needed to get it off his chest and that he feels like a terrible person. He is. I am leaving that goddamn scumbag scourge on my life far behind me. He just doesn't know it yet. As you should, OP. What a piece of shit for doing that to you, honestly. He really does only have rocks bouncing around inside that head of his. He doesn't even want to cover up his crimes. I think he's just too stupid to even think of covering up what he did here. You should have been able to trust him. You were dating this man. You have a long history with him. But people show their asses. People change. The mask slips. He turned out to be a monster that listens to his monster mother. And then he was dumb enough to immediately bend and say that he feels like a terrible person and admit to it. Thank God he is an idiot and not a smart manipulator like we see quite often. Screw that guy, take the advice of the comments and do tell him that you just had a miscarriage, and get far away from him. If not, escalate it with the police with all of the evidence that you have and go after his ass for sexual assault, because that is textbook reproductive coercion. He would have to be a registered sex offender if you were to take him on with that charge, and he will have deserved it. And now, on to the update. So much has happened since I last posted here, as I'm sure you can imagine. Long story short, X's family is a mess. Getting in touch with legal professionals and talking to the police has been so overwhelming, but I'm lucky enough to be working with some absolute angels. I can't get into the weeds of all of that in this post. It doesn't really look great, but it's hard to say what'll happen since everything is so fresh. Courts move at a snail's pace, but if I'm ever in a position to give an update, I will. Now for everything else, I guess. X confessed to messing with my birth control. I have a close childhood friend who my ex took to early in our relationship. Looking back, X definitely had a little bit of a thing for her. I think everyone who knows her kinda does, myself included. She is compassionate, amicable, gorgeous, the whole package. Anyone who knows her well knows that she is not to be fucked with. The point is, he trusted her a lot. A few hours after I made my post, she and I got together and schemed. We very gently prodded him over text. He barely bent before he broke. We deliberately made the text messages sound super non-judgmental, like she was on his side. She threw me under the bus a little bit and implied she felt closer to him than me to really sell the act. I can't go into detail about how the conversation went down, legal shit, but I do have the screenshots, and I will definitely be posting them if I can once all of this is over and done with. If I remember to, that is. I don't think my ex would have ever spilled his guts if she hadn't been in the picture. Friend has been by my side pretty much ever since. I mentioned at the end of my original post that I've been staying with my parents, and they have been gracious enough to help me until I'm back on my feet, no matter how long it takes. I quit my dead-end job. I've been meaning to anyway, and I've been doing school online. Friend brought her mini work from home setup, and we've both just been sharing a bed in my childhood room most nights. Also, we sorta kissed. Only once. It was nice. I had a big fat crush on her for like the entirety of high school. I don't know what else to say about that. I won't bore you guys with the details since I know that it's not what you're here for. I don't want to tell my friends about it yet, so you guys get to hear first. I'm not dying to get into something serious at the moment, but I won't complain if it ends up going somewhere. I think some part of me has known for a while that my last relationship was comp-het. Leaving felt like such a monumental task. In some messed up way, this has been a blessing. I was thrust into a situation where the only reasonable option was to drop him like hot shit, which was kinda long overdue. Parents are also way chiller than I thought they would be. I mentioned in my last post that they're kinda religious, but they chilled out a lot after I moved out. Faith is still a big part of their lives, but they're less into following the book to a T and more into making the world a better place. My dad got really into virtue ethics, and I think it's been good for him. I had a conversation with my mum about everything, and she's been nothing but supportive. We had a girls' day with her, my aunt, my friend, and my sister a couple of days before my appointment. Being surrounded by love made everything easier. Appointment went well, no complications, and everyone made sure that I was taken care of while I recovered physically and emotionally. I can't even begin to tell you all how grateful I am. I feel like everything has gone as well as it possibly could have in the wake of an absolute shitstorm. As for X's family, holy shit. This isn't the first time this happened. X's cousin did almost the exact same thing, but his girlfriend, now wife, kept the kid and married the shitbag. I've been talking to her, but I don't want to air out all of her trauma and dirty laundry on the internet. Lots going on for her. If she gives me permission to talk about it here, I might update once the dust settles. I don't have much else to say, except thank you all so incredibly much for giving me the kick in the ass that I needed. I've received so much kindness from this community, both in the comments and in the DMs. There were so many comments that I didn't get the chance to read, but everything I saw was so sweet. Not a single unkind word. I hope you all continue to be such gems. I hope the goodness that you've imparted into my life comes back around. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In the comments, Spatula MD says, okay, surprise sapphic love story is definitely what we are here for. Just to clarify, I speak for the entire internet. OP says, Lamau, thank you. I don't know about love story just yet, but my fingers are crossed just a tiny bit. Protect your heart, OP. But that said, she can't get you pregnant. Yay! OP says, Lamau, that's true. Neither of us want to risk losing what we've had since childhood, so I'm keeping my expectations completely neutral. We've talked a bit about what a relationship would look like if we did have one, and we agree that now is definitely not the time. For now, we're just enjoying being in each other's company. I'm so lucky to have her regardless of how things play out. Routine Assistant says, I'm so proud I just shed a little tear. This feels like the happy ending to a movie. You go, girl. And OP replies, thank you so much. It does kind of feel that way. Legal things are so far from over, but I finally feel like a person again after the time I wasted with my ex. It has been so nice knowing that so many people have my back, both online and off. And I say, thank God you were taking this to the police and taking it to the courts. It might have been a success story, quote unquote, for the cousin, but it damn well will not be for him. That family definitely felt emboldened to push him to do it because they got away with it the first time, so they're like, oh, maybe our concerns about legal issues won't happen this time. No, screw them. That son deserves to be a sex offender for this offense. And I'm happy that you have such a strong support network around you, OP. You deserve nothing but the best. He deserves nothing but the worst. Thank you for the story. Thank you for the update. I hope that the court case goes well and that you get extra charges against him, because screw that piece of shit. Our next post is by user Particular Box, and it's titled, Am I the arsehole for not giving my stepdaughter's old room back to her? My husband has 2 kids from a previous relationship who were female 20 and male 23. When we married, they had already moved out of our house. We have a baby together, male 1, who now sleeps in his own room, which is stepdaughter's old room that we turned into baby room. Now all of a sudden they both want to move back in. Stepdaughter lost her job and can't afford her house anymore, stepson is done with college and recently moved back to our city. I said they are both welcome back, but they have to share stepson's room. There is no other room to put baby stuff, and I'm not going to put it all in a storage or something like that. That is baby's room now. They are adults, and they moved out, and I wasn't going to keep the rooms empty for them. Now they are angry and saying I am an arsehole. In the comments, Vidavwil asks, why are you having to be the bad guy? It seems like your husband's problem to solve, not the arsehole. OP says, because they keep arguing with me while he's not around. He has made it clear that either they take the one room that is given to them or they can just leave. Refer them back to their dad then. This has already been decided. Don't engage anymore. And if you haven't discussed a time limit, you should add that in there. They get 6 months to move out or they start paying rent. Not the asshole, but tell your husband they keep coming at you and it's stressing you out. Ask him to please remind them that this is his decision. They are disrespecting you and your life with their father. By the way, this will also make sure that they do what they need to do to get out again. Exactly. Your feelings matter too, and it's exhausting to constantly defend your space. Having your husband back you up makes it clear that this isn't just your decision. It's the boundary of your life together. You deserve peace, not constant stress from them. Does your home have a basement? Where is your husband in this equation? OP says it has an unfinished basement that needs a lot of work done and will cost us a lot. We have a baby, it's expensive. We don't have extra money to just finish the basement for them. And he agrees with me. It's another one of those situations where I'm like, thank you for bringing this to Reddit. I understand why you feel like you might be an asshole in this situation, because these two are not taking no for an answer, and they're coming down on you instead of him. But they truly have been given their offer. Their dad said they have to share with the baby. They get free rent out of this. They get a lot of benefits, and they save a lot of money by coming back to live in your house. I agree with you. I think it's unreasonable to leave 2 big rooms empty for them to come back to when it's your house. You guys should be able to use those rooms, and they don't have a reservation for it, and they're also not paying for it. So no, I think they should take the offer that they've been given, and I think they should shut their mouths. And regardless of if they continue or not, bring the dad back into this and get him to shut them down, not the asshole. And now, onto the update. I decided to just tell my husband everything that they have been saying. I didn't want to say something originally because I didn't want to cause problems between them, but they are old enough to know exactly what they are doing, so they should also be prepared for the consequences. I'm going through a lot lately. I'm still struggling with PPD that just doesn't seem to go away. I told my husband that I will never ask him to choose between me and his kids, but I do have to choose between me and his kids, and I choose me. My mental health is important. His kids haven't even moved in, but they are already here all the time, and they keep arguing and nagging and pushing me to my limits, and I can't worry about them sharing a room. I have enough problems already. I told him that I'm gonna stay in a hotel for a few days because I need to be away from him and his kids. This includes the little one. I just need a few days off from being a parent. He didn't let me leave and instead took the baby and left. He returned about an hour ago. He had bought some takeout for me. He asked how I'm doing and said the baby is with his sister and is doing well. He gave me the keys that he has given his kids and said he took them away and they can't just walk in ever again and they need permission from now on. He said that I should have just said something sooner instead of waiting until I get to my breaking point. He's gonna help his kids find a cheap apartment and some roommates, and he will help them with rent for a few months until they can afford to pay it themselves. They are not happy, but he is not willing to give them more. He and our baby will stay with his sister for a night or two so I can get some rest, but if I want them back sooner, I can just call them and he will return. We are finally gonna repurpose stepson's room as well. It'll just be a guest room for now, but he wants to buy some bookshelves as well so that we can have a library too. Well, I guess that's all. In the comments, Special Lychee says, I was worried there for a minute when you said that he wouldn't let you leave and he took the baby, but he took charge and had your back. Great update. Focus on yourself, OP. Do try to find some balance. See a doctor about that PPD. You don't have to wait until you're in a deep low to find professional help. The sooner you get help, the sooner you can get out of that low. The really important thing here is that he listened. Instead of letting her run away, he fixed the problem. And I agree about PPD. It's so hard to ask for help, but getting some help can be a game changer for PPD. All my kids moved back at least once. They didn't move back to what was, they moved back to what it will be. This was perfectly understood by them. I'm very glad your husband stood up for you and baby. Quite frankly, adult kids need to understand that they can't keep running home every time life gets hard. Or maybe they can run home, but they can't expect their rooms and stuff to be available the same way as when they were living there before. I agree with that, and initially reading through, the husband's actions of being like, no, you can't leave the house, and I'm running away with the baby to the sister's house. Yes, I'm dramatic, shut up. I was like, oh dear God, what's going on? What has OP not told me about this man? But no, it's all good. He's a saint. He is the direct opposite of the guy from the first story, thank God. And he did everything perfectly. I think what it boils down to is OP was doing what he said. She wasn't communicating all of her worries, anxieties, stress transparently to him, and he didn't know that she was suffering. And when she communicated to him, he could help fix those problems. And once again, wow, who would have thought that talking this through helps? OP, please take that advice and knowledge that you have now gained from this situation and talk to him in the future, because he's shown that you can trust him to fix problems that you are having. He can't read your mind. And look what happens when you speak your mind. If I were to go back to that first post and OP added in the context of, I haven't told him any of this, I've been keeping this to myself, and he has no idea what's going on, I'm just silently fighting this fight, I would say you're an asshole, because you'd be an asshole to yourself for extending this fight and causing yourself unnecessary stress. This is the problem with stories where people put themselves in such a positive light and the offender in such a negative light because we miss the forest through the trees. There is additional context that we get in the update where I'm like, well, this changes everything. Thanks, OP. Anyway, that was a fantastic solution to the story. Why the hell can't all stories resolve like this? Thank you for the story. Thank you for the update, OP. Not jealous that you have such a well-rounded and smart partner at all. Could never be me. Our next post is one that I have covered before, but it has a new update. Posted by user InvestigatorOK, titled, Am I the asshole for not telling my best friend the real reason that I'm not at his wedding? I, 29 male, was supposed to be a groomsman for my best friend, 30 male, as we've been tight since we were kids. This weekend, he's marrying his fiancée, 28 female, who I've known since they were dating long distance in high school. At his bachelor party last weekend, we started off at my place and transitioned to bar hopping, and by the end, my best friend was drunk, and the guys, all our mutual friends and some of his cousins, were egging him on to do a last kiss before marriage day. For some extra information, I'm not a fan of that custom at bachelors and bachelorettes because it honestly makes it look like you're being held hostage to marry the love of your life, plus it's just disrespectful to your partner. But that's just an opinion that I have, and to each their own. But I knew that my best friend shared it too. Still, I figured if it had to be, my best friend wouldn't do it because I know he loves his fiancée very much. To my literal shock and horror, he turned around, grabbed, and kissed me. Not even a dumb peck, like he actually dipped me and held it for a few seconds until everyone was laughing obnoxiously. I didn't kiss back, I just froze and laughed it off when it finished. Later, I realized I wasn't having much fun anymore, and I bailed early, taking some of our drunker friends home with me. The next day, his fiancée texted me on Insta and then on WhatsApp, asking to talk, and then called me. She wasn't yelling or anything, but was just kind of awkward. She said she knew about the kiss, and that while she didn't love it, she was glad that it was me and not some random girl. She said if he had kissed another woman, she'd have taken it as cheating and dealt with it worse. I agree and backed her point, saying that I wouldn't have encouraged or allowed that. But at the same time, she admitted she didn't feel comfortable with me being at the wedding now either because it would just be in the back of her head. I was admittedly stunned at first, and then mad, then upset, but came to the conclusion that it was her wedding day at the end of the day, and told her that I got it and wouldn't go. She thanked me for understanding, but also asked not to tell my best friend that she was the one who asked. I've already sent the text backing out, giving reasons regarding work, and my best friend was very upset and asked me if I could back out in any way. I freelance, by the way, and he knows this, so my lie wasn't a good one, and he went from upset to straight up mad at me for bailing out on his wedding day for work. All our mutuals have texted me in our shared wedding group chat and have asked me to reconsider and told me there's no way I'm skipping his wedding for work I myself manage, some being harsher and some passive-aggressive, all very valid. Now I'm stuck looking like the asshole when I was literally asked not to go, and also asked not to say that I was asked not to go. Everyone around me thinks I'm the asshole for prioritizing work over my best friend's wedding, and I honestly don't know how to navigate this without losing people. And I guess now having experienced this story so many times, especially with Jack on the podcast, I hope I've come around to a more reasonable middle ground take on this. This is not something that OP should have been pressured into by the bride. It's not fair of OP to dip out and have to be completely secretive about this. What the best friend did to OP was completely unacceptable. Don't kiss him like that. Ask if you're going to do something like that and get a heads up to be like, yeah, this is cool. Don't just force it on him. Jack's take on it was You know, we all do stupid things when we're drunk. A kiss isn't the end of the world, and it shouldn't have gone on to be as serious as it was here. I see where he's coming from with that. I agree, but I think that it would have been a lot better if he had talked about it beforehand and been like, you know what, OP, is it okay if I kiss you? It's just the surprise and non-consent of it. Yeah, it was humiliating for OP, and now OP has to suffer the consequences of that. The question is, are you the asshole for not telling your best friend the real reason that you're not at his wedding? I feel like you shouldn't have to be in this situation in the first place. And I guess, in a way, yes, because he does need to know the real reason, because this is not a battle that you need to fight. You, OP, are not the asshole, but I think it would be wrong of you not to tell him and have him sort this out with her. It makes you the evil one in this situation when you did nothing wrong, and this should be sorted out between the both of them. And now, on to the update. So after reading through all the comments and some private messages, I realized my approach was wrong and wasn't fair to him, or myself to be fair, and was honestly making me look like the worst MFer on the planet. So I ended up sending him a long text explaining the actual reasons why, starting from the kiss last weekend to his fiancée asking me not to come because of it. Also very loosely mentioning that she didn't want me to tell him about it. After reading many comments, I did feel like a wuss for complying in the first place, but I don't know, I still felt guilty about even telling him that and even just breaking her trust. He didn't text back for ages, but called me almost immediately when he saw it. Wasn't yelling or anything, but I could hear that he was really emotional. First, he apologized like 10 times for the kiss. He said that he thought that it would just be a dumb laugh for the guys and didn't realize how much it crossed a line for both me and his fiancée. He also said that he never wanted me to feel uncomfortable and admitted that he'd been drinking way too much that night. I told him I completely understood and forgave him for that, at least on my end. Then when I told him about his fiancée's request, there was a long silence. And slightly off topic here, but I was eating pistachios, and the sharp bit of the shell cut my lip a bit, and it was hard to keep quiet, but I had my super serious conversation cap on, so anyways, he just kept repeating like, she didn't tell me that. She didn't tell me that. I swear she didn't tell me that, and said that he wished that she had talked to him directly instead of going around him, and that he hated how everything looked. Also said that he had been the one to give her my number, as I had hers but never texted her, but thought that it was for some surprise plan/present that she was planning on surprising him with. After we talked, his fiancée texted me apologizing for putting me in that position, but she still stood by that she personally didn't want me there. She said she didn't want to be thinking about that on her wedding day, and while she wasn't mad at me, she just needed the peace of mind. To cut a long convo short, I'm going. My best friend told me that he wanted me there, but also said he understood if I didn't want to push it with his fiancée, but repeatedly said that he wanted me there more than anything. I told him I loved him and supported him, and I'd go, and that I was sorry for even considering not going. He cried, I cried, like fucking babies, but ended well enough. Our mutual friends/groomsmen, I'm guessing, are still kind of salty with me because they don't know the real story, and I'm not about to spread it around, as it's not my relationship and not my drama to share. My best friend did tell me that he'll clear the air as soon as possible prior to the wedding, but until then, I'm just gonna take the L on looking like a flaky fucking asshole. Thank you very, 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 very fucking sincerely to everyone that helped me change my mind, and I'm honestly so glad that I put it on here, because I could have very well been a knob and have missed my own best friend's wedding. It's this weekend, and we have a pre-party which I'm officially involved with once more, which is great. Thank you so much again. And now, on to the latest update. Hi guys, wedding plus pre-party happened last weekend, and I've had a few days to process, so here is the update as promised. First off, I found out through a bridesmaid messaging me on Instagram why my best friend's fiancée reacted the way that she did. As it turns out, it wasn't just about the bachelor party kiss, it was about him in general, which I had guessed enough thanks to some comments. For context, ever since I've known Andrew, my best friend, he's had a history of being impulsive when drunk. I know this is fairly common, and I had the same issue in high school, but I learned to just drink less and eventually leveled out, but Andrew didn't. Over the years, he's done a bunch of crazy shit, most of which I've forgotten or never even knew. The bridesmaid listed examples that his fiancée had mentioned, like when he streaked through campus at midnight on a dare no one pushed him into, or when he kissed mutual friends, including me once, during drinking games in high school, and many other things, etc. Nothing that counted as cheating, but enough of a pattern that he's got a reputation for taking jokes and dares too literally. His fiancée, of course, knew about a lot of this, and it had been a sore point in their relationship early on. So when the kiss with me happened at the bachelor party, she didn't see it as a one-off joke. Rather, she saw it as proof his old habits were not gone, and she panicked. In her mind, if he could do that in front of everyone, then what else might happen? And because it was me this time, that ever-constant part of his life, I became part of the problem. Apparently, Andrew made things bad from the get-go when he got back from the party as he walked into their hotel room with her and her mum there and blurted out the story very obnoxiously. That pissed her off and made her mum, who's apparently pretty conservative, really uncomfortable. According to the bridesmaid, her mum has clashed with Andrew before, and this was the last thing that she wanted to see before her daughter's wedding. That same night, the fiancé and her mum talked, and her mum was the one who pushed the idea that I should quietly back out. She basically told her that it would be a bad look to have me standing there as a part of the wedding party, which did explain why I got that message the next morning. In the end, I did go to the pre-party and the wedding. Both went pretty fast, but they went well and very beautifully. The part that really did unexpectedly hurt me was after, regarding the honeymoon. Many months before I had suggested this one destination that I'd gone to on vacay when I was way younger, and back then they had both been excited and even asked me for hotel and restaurant recommendations in preparation. After the wedding, I had asked Andrew when they were leaving, and he kind of hesitated before saying they had changed plans to somewhere completely different. I was very surprised, to be honest, but we just laughed about it and closed it up with me saying, "Oh well," and wishing them a great time. With more thoughts given, I realized that it's another way of cutting out my influence / icing me out, and that was the point that the reality of it was coming down on me. Now that it's been a few days and I've driven back home, I've just conceded. While I'm glad that I went, I'm not very hopeful for our friendship being the same. I love Andrew dearly, and I really do love his wife too, and I understand why things turned out this way, but I just wish I hadn't fucking been the one involved. Drama is very fun to dive into when it isn't you, and that is fact. I do want to be clear though that the blame is on Andrew. While I don't think I deserved to be put in this position, I also believe they, his wife and her mum, tried their best to treat me fairly, even when it was hard for them. I do also forgive them, and I hope to move forward, even if the friendship that I had with him for 20 years probably won't ever look the same again. Thank you truly for all the comments and DMs and support. In the comments, FartMasterChamp says, "Wait, so she had a problem with his behavior, so she married him, but chose to have a problem with you? Make it make sense. She's desperate enough to marry someone that she doesn't trust, and she's willing to hurt someone else in the process. As a woman, I find her behavior disgusting. Sunken cost fallacy. They'll tough it out terribly to save face, and then make their kids miserable. It's a bargain compared to calling off a wedding. I disagree with you about one thing. I don't think that your friend's wife and her mum tried their best to treat you fairly. I went back and read your previous posts, and it sounds to me like your friend's wife and mother-in-law tried to blame you for what happened. It also sounds to me like your friend has a drinking problem. I don't know. Speaking for myself, but if I had a friend who kissed me without my consent while they were drunk, I'd reconsider the relationship." Expensive Salad says, "I have been sidelined by so many male friends since they got married / got into serious relationships. It truly sucks, and I'm sorry that you've ended up here." OP says, "That's honestly the perfect word. being sidelined. I'm so sorry that it's happened to you too, though. I hope you're doing and feeling better regarding it. Expensive Salad says, "It did really hurt, but there are other joys to be had from life. Without torturing myself over what I could have done differently, really, I'd have to have been born a man for some of these wives to accept me. So, I accept me. I hope you can reconcile your feelings over your loss too. It does get easier." What? When your friend gets wasted, he has a history of kissing men? What the hell? OP says, "Not just men, but he has kissed some of our male mutual friends, as have they. So then why won't you guys let me know that he's gay or bi?" OP says, "To my knowledge, he's straight and I'm straight too." Straight men don't have a history of kissing men. I needed this update. This was a good update. Oh wow, this is so incredibly messy. And OP is definitely being sidelined by a quote-unquote straight man with a history of kissing men when he gets drunk. I don't care what OP says, that man is not straight. His sober thoughts are definitely drunk actions. And maybe, and I know it's not true for every situation, maybe it's better that OP gets sidelined for a while, because it will save OP a lot more heartache if OP is too directly involved with these guys. Having already been a scapegoat, you will just set yourself up to be an even bigger scapegoat in the future. This is a dysfunctional marriage. This is a very dysfunctional marriage between two dysfunctional people. I doubt it will last, and if it does, Jesus Christ, that mother-in-law is a psycho. OP, please take it as a blessing that you get to be sidelined for a bit, and I hope you can go make some better friends. Because the mental energy that you will exhaust having to defend yourself to these people that do not care about you, they are just looking to use you as a common enemy between them, it'll burn you out. I'm super serious. This will burn you the fuck out. I know we have a lot of issues that come up on Am I the Arsehole, and it's always, oh, divorce them, leave that partner, get rid of them, get out of your life, low contact, no contact. And you know what? If you want to keep being friends with this guy, you go on right ahead. It's not the end of the world, what has happened here, what they have done to you, but it is a lot of bullshit. And if that's what you want to do, that's completely fine. I respect that. You continue to be friends with him. And in a few years, when their marriage implodes and you've taken punch after punch along the way, I hope you also come back with another update and tell us how it was a mistake staying friends with them. Because I would put money on that being the case. Thank you for the post. Thank you for the next update. I really liked that one. Thank you. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. It was a bit of a long one. I love long ones. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, go watch it again on Spotify and click the follow button. The old Marky Spotify account is dead. Long live the new Marky Spotify account king. And then give it 5 stars as well. And watch the podcast. And watch the Marky True Crime. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.